everyone. Tuning in for the first time for a few weeks, and actually just returned back from the United States, where I was part of a training from the Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, or FDN school, which was actually very, very interesting. And we held a day and a half specifically about stealth infections and chronic inflammatory response syndrome. And it was very good to explore some of the new research that's coming out around this. And one of the new things that's just recently come out is some of the organic acid markers, and how they've been correlated to the presence of mycotoxins in the urine. And so this is definitely one area that I'm going to be exploring in a lot more depth and presenting in further videos in future. But actually what I wanted to talk about today is a little bit about the emotion of helplessness. And probably most of us who've had chronic illness or suffered from chronic illness at some stage of our life can relate to feeling helpless at some point. And I guess you could say the longer that it goes on for and the more severe a chronic illness is, the more likely that helplessness is going to come up. And for some people, it's actually a very, very common and recurrent emotional theme that comes up perhaps even on a daily level. And along with that feeling of helplessness, there's often certain stories or certain narratives that can also come up. And sometimes the thought patterns can be around, there's just nothing I can do about this, or why me, or I'm destined to just have this problem for the rest of my life, and I've just got to suffer. And it's worth asking the question to ourselves as to what relationship do we have to this emotion of helplessness. And I think this can be a really useful kind of exploration to know that when helplessness comes up, do we tend to clamp down and resist that emotion? Or do we tend to turn that helplessness into another emotion, like a toxic sense of bitterness? Or do we just more sit with the helplessness and observe it and create a healthy separation with it? And really what I'm saying is, if you can get to the stage where you develop that latter kind of relationship, where you are able to still relate to your helplessness and still be separate from it. So you're not actually fusing with the helplessness and totally buying into its message or its story. But on the other hand, you're not also totally gliding over it. You're not totally bypassing it either. You're able to hear its message, but you're able to stay somewhat separate from it. And you're able to, for instance, have a little bit of a communication with it, saying, okay, well, yeah, at times I do feel helpless, but on the other hand, there is A, B, C, and D that I actually can control. And I need to exert my best ability, the control that I can exert on the situation. And as we all know, that there are actually many things that we can do to improve our situation, whether that go from just little improvements we can make in our diet, or with our home environment, or with detoxification, or with even things like this that we're discussing, even being able to work further with our emotional situation and make improvements in terms of being able to relate in more of a healthy manner to some of these emotional themes that come up. All of these are things that we can do to create progress and traction on the health journey. So I'd really like to hear what you guys think your relationship is to helplessness, and what do you notice when this emotion comes up and some of those narratives come up around it, and how do you find you deal with this, and what have you noticed has helped you? So I'll look forward to hearing your comments, and I'll chat to you guys below. Bye for now.